tale of the mummy. About 50 years ago, there were 4 explorers that were determined to find the secret of the mummy. And after many years of research and exploration, they came across this brand new tomb. And they opened up the tomb, and inside they found 2 sarcophagi, which I'm going to call coffins. And in the first coffin, they were very, very excited to see an intact mummy. And they removed the mummy very carefully and looked inside, but there were no treasure. So then they looked at the second coffin, and inside this, there was still a burial header intact. And that was very, very exciting, because that's normally where the full goodies were. And they opened it up, but it was empty. There was nothing inside. So the first explorer set about deciphering the hieroglyphics. The other 3 explorers worked with the mummy, and one studied the base and the other 2 studied the mummy itself. And they made notes and took lots of photos and video. It was very, very exciting. But just as they were really getting into it, the first explorer came rushing in. So they quickly put the mummy back to listen to the first explorer. He said, "This is terrible. The message reads, 'He who disturbs me will suffer the curse of the mummy and the fate of death.'" Well, needless to say, this freaked out all 4 explorers. So they quickly and quietly put the mummy back inside the coffin. Then they covered it up with the header and closed it up. And they closed up the second coffin, and they left that tomb. And they got back to their campsite, breathing a sigh of relief, and they told their colleagues what had happened. Well, after a couple of whiskies, the colleagues decided they were going to see these mummies, because they didn't really believe the story. So they came up to the tomb and they opened the first coffin. There was nothing inside. And they looked in the second one, and there was the burial header, just as their colleagues had said. But inside, there was no mummy. So they didn't believe a word of what their colleagues had said. They put everything back, and they went back to the campsite, and they told their colleagues what happened. And the original explorers started to wonder, maybe it didn't happen, maybe it was all in their mind. But over the next 12 months, 3 of the 4 explorers all died in tragic accidents. And the final explorer knew it was the curse of the mummy coming true. And he thought back on that night, and he suddenly remembered that they placed the mummy back into the wrong coffin. Instead of placing it in this one, they placed it in this one here. And he's thinking through, he said, oh, maybe he can rectify that. So he came back to the tomb when he was hoping to find something. And he looked in the first one. Nothing there. He then looked in the second one, and this too was still empty. And he was very despondent, because he knew his life was going to be on the balance next. And he was just closing everything up, and he noticed that the header moved. It didn't move easily, but it moved a little bit. And so he pushed and squeezed it. Ah! He managed to pull it off, and there was another message here. And it said, "Never fear, Mummy's here." So he smiled, and he lifted open the lid, and there inside was the mummy. So he quickly put the mummy back, and he replaced the coffins in the tomb, and he left that place, and he lived for another 50 years, but he never disturbed the mummies again.